This is the new Deepal E07, and it's a hard car to place because it's an each-way bet on an SUV and a ute. I also like to think of it as the mullet of cars. It's business up front, but it's a party at the back. And that's because this new electric car from China can transform in front of your very eyes at just the push of a button. It goes from a liftback back to a little tray back. It almost doubles as a ute, which is unlike anything that's on sale right now in Australia. So where do you price a vehicle that's part SUV and part ute? Well, it's somewhere in the middle. And as electric cars go, this is pretty good value considering the amount of stuff you get. And I'll tell you all about that right now.
The E07 is available in two variants, a single motor rear-wheel drive version and a dual motor performance grade. Prices start at $64,900 before on-road costs for the single motor version and rise to $73,900 for the dual motor variant. The rear-wheel drive is the entry-level version, but is stacked with standard gear. It rides on monster 21-inch alloy wheels, has LED lighting front and back, hands-free power tailgate, and auto-folding side mirrors. Inside there is a 15.4-inch multimedia screen that is compatible with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And there is a wireless device charger and USB-A and C ports front and back. A monster head-up display which projects information on the windscreen in front of the driver replaces the driver display. There are no instruments anywhere to be seen. This is joined by power adjustable front seats that are wrapped in supple Napa leather. The front seats are heated, ventilated, and have a massage function. This is topped off with 256 color ambient lighting and an 18-speaker stereo. The performance grade is spec'd exactly the same, and all it does is add an extra motor for all that extra punch and all-wheel drive grip. Check out our full written review at carsguide.com.au for full specification. The biggest talking point is the rear, and there is nothing like this car with this back end in Australia on sale right now. What looks like a liftback is actually a retractable roof that converts the rear into an open tray. And it still has a glass divider between the rear seats and the tray to help keep the outside world at bay. Outside of the rear end, it's a futuristic looking car with squished LED headlights, flush door handles, and a closed off front end typical of modern electric cars from China. It's big too, with almost dual cab ute-like length. Inside, it borrowed cues from Tesla, with its minimalist design with next to no buttons and only a big central screen to control everything. The cabin materials are top notch, with plush and premium feeling elements throughout.
Yes, you're seeing this right. It's a tray very much like you'd find in a ute, but there's certain things that place this car very much in the SUV column, and this is why.
It only has a payload of 300 kilos, so it's not tradie spec. The E07 only has a max brake towing capacity of 1500 kgs, so again, not adventure ready. There is no rugged ladder frame underneath either, which limits its off-road capabilities. Ground clearance of 223mm is good, and it can wade up to depths of 600mm, so it'll do a little bit of light off-roading, but best to stick to dirt or gravel tracks. Cargo space is good, with 524 litres with the seats up, or 1654 litres with the seats down. There's also a small cargo area under the bonnet, which has drain holes in case you want it to double as an esky at the campsite, which is handy for a lifestyle-orientated vehicle. That means you can go camping and power appliances on the go, which means it's quality coffee off the grid. It also works for power tools as well.
So one of the first things you notice when you sit in the E07 is there's nothing in front of the driver. There's no screens. That's because everything is controlled via the big multimedia screen here in the center. And there's also a giant head-up display that puts all the vital information onto the windscreen. So you're not driving blind, but it's a very minimalist cabin. There are absolutely no buttons except these two little rotating controllers here on the steering wheel. And that might irk a few people because some things are hard to adjust on the fly.
Front and back seat passengers are spoiled for space, with a lot of head, shoulder and leg room. There are plenty of storage options up front, but no glove box. There are USB charging ports in both rows and dedicated aircon vents for the rear seat passengers. The rear-wheel drive version uses a single electric motor to make 242 kilowatts and 365 Newton meters, and the all-wheel drive performance variant adds a second motor to make a combined 440 kilowatts and 645 Newton meters. That extra grunt drops the E07's 0 to 100 km/h time from 6.7 seconds to about 4 seconds. At its core, the E07 uses a circa 90 kWh NMC battery, which is big by EV standards. It delivers a WLTP verified driving range of 550 kilometers in the rear-wheel drive version and 510 kilometers in the all-wheel drive. It is speedy to charge with a max DC rate of 240 kilowatts. Deepal said this can replenish the battery from 30 to 80% in 15 minutes. It has a max AC charging rate of just 7 kilowatts.
This E07 comes in rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. Both have plenty of performance. Obviously that all-wheel drive adds a second motor, gives it plenty of punch. It's really fast, but it gets the power to the ground in a really nice manner. It doesn't just go, there's everything at once. It's a nice linear power explosion. It's a big heavy car, right? And you do feel that sometimes through the corners, especially if you're in comfort mode. Sport mode tightens things up a little bit and it kind of controls the weight a little bit better. But the air suspension does make for a fairly roly-poly kind of ride. It's a bit rollicking left and right. And after spending a big chunk in the passenger seat on a fairly potholed backcountry road, I got fairly car sick, and I wasn't the only one either. So I wouldn't want to put my kids in the back for a long drive because I think they might get a little bit sick. The steering has a really nice feel to it. So it's direct, it's got a bit of weight to it, and there's not a whole lot to complain about. Same with the brake and the accelerator feel. They do exactly what they're supposed to. There's no doughy brake pedal where it grips when it wants to grip and it goes when it's supposed to go. So it does a really good job in that matter. Now, Deepal's first car, the S07, got a lot of complaints for its overreactive safety gear that beeped and bonged and did everything it shouldn't do all at once. And you know what? This car's better, but I've still turned off a lot of the active safety gear because it was highly annoying and it's not how it should be. But luckily, if I've turned it off once, I don't have to turn it off again. It stays off. But it defeats the purpose of the safety aids, right? That means they're not really working right if I've had to turn them off. And obviously, it keeps on auto emergency braking. There's some things that have to stay on, but lane departure warning, speed limit warning, they've all gone. This E07, it's pretty massive. It's over 5 meters long. It's pretty much 2 meters wide. Put that in context, that's like a Land Cruiser. So it is a big beast, and why on country roads like this it feels fine, around town it felt tight. So take that into consideration. If you live on a small street or underground car park, this might be a little bit of a concern to get in and out of or just live with on a daily basis. Now, this E07 doesn't have a driver display in front of you. There's no instruments, there's nothing. It's just a blank space. But the head-up display is putting some pretty useful information onto the windscreen in front of me. I can see my traveling speed, I can see the prevailing speed limit, there's a bunch of safety tech warnings on there, and there's also a little readout of my car in the lane, so that's helping with, the lane departure warning and all that kind of stuff as well. Why the suspension had trouble, with undulating roads and quite big potholes, it does a really good job of the small imperfections on the road. It soaks them up really quite easily. You almost cruise right over them. But it still doesn't counteract the fact that if you are the passenger in this, you are going to get a little bit seasick if you're looking at your phone, which not something you do in EVs. They're all a bit like that. Now, another annoying thing about this car is everything's controlled through the screen. So if I want to change the vent, the air conditioning vent, directions, I've got to jump into 3 menus. And look, I get what they're doing, and it's a very tech-focused car, but usability-wise, on the go, it's not the most convenient thing to use, I have to say.
Deepal has included all the safety bells and whistles in the E07. It'll automatically apply the brakes when it detects a potential collision. It'll warn you if a car is in your blind spot and if a vehicle is approaching from the side as you reverse. A range of sensors will help keep you centered in your lane. There is a 360-degree camera and transparent chassis feature that allows you to see underneath the car while you're driving. The E07 hasn't been crash tested yet. For a full list of safety equipment, read the full written review at carsguide.com.au. Deepal covers the E07 with a 7-year, 160,000 kilometre warranty, and the battery is guaranteed for 8 years and 240,000 kilometres. It also has a 7-year cap price servicing program that requires visits every 12 months or 20,000 kilometres.
I love that the E07 is so different. We haven't had a segment bending car like this in forever, and it does a lot of things right too. It's well priced, it's stacked full of gear, and that little ute back, it's going to make a big difference to a lot of people. It's just so practical, but it's probably going to be a niche vehicle. It's not the best driving car, and that safety tech is a bit annoying. And you know what, there's still that big question mark on if you actually need that functionality. But you know what, if you want something a little bit different, go have a look at this E07.